Hey everybody, Drew here. I only have a front-facing camera because I'm doing this on my phone. But I'm going to talk about my new project. I want to make, so I am making, Gamora's sword, but I want the collapsible version. I'm making it out of MDF, which probably isn't the most ideal medium, but it's what I got and what I'm thinking would work best for me. Problem it's not the most ideal medium is because it makes it too thick. This is the thickness of it. But I'm going to alter this a bit too. This is a rough draft. None of this is glued except for a glue gun. And I will have the pictures of everything, the whole version, the paper version, and what alterations I'm going to do to the paper version. The main thing is you have to start at the middle and work your way out. So this is the middle piece. This is the tip. Once you get this piece in, you can start working on the second piece that encases the tip. It's like a collapsible baton. You know, you flip out the collapsible baton, it goes out, and you push it back together. Obviously, hers is magical and whatever in the movies, but I don't have access to magic. It says part D on it. I go D, C, B, A for the biggest piece. This is the middle piece, the tip. This goes into the second piece, and I put a stopper in here for this. Actually, this is a good view. What I have to do next is to make it thick here, and then taper down, shave this down so it's much less jarring of a transition than that. Obviously with MDF, it's going to be somewhat jarring anyway. Then, well, these two sections go in the next section. And then that will go in here. And then you put it all together and you have a collapsible sword. Most recently the problem I'm having is A is still being worked on. A is not a hexagon this way like these are. It's an octagon. So it actually has side pieces here, which is throwing me off. I probably shouldn't have done it that way, but it was my original draft, and I don't really think I can change it right now. What I want to go back and do is start with this, then make piece C to go around piece D. You can probably see that this isn't great edge. You want this to be a continuation of the sword, because it's not just a sword on the tip, it's a sword the whole way down. So this would be a cutting blade, if it were real. Obviously this is just props. Oh, it's even worse on this side. See, this is very... You can see that that's not a tip by any stretch of the imagination. I need to actually make either the top or the section legs a bit differently. You can see that there's one piece here, another piece here, another piece legs here, legs there, and then bottom. So these two sides are parallel. And then... Oh, pardon me. Okay, hold on. Haha! Haha! Each half this way is a trapezoid, if that makes sense. So I got to make these a little bit longer. I haven't put them in yet, but you see these two dots? That's going to be where the posts are to block this from going all the way through. Into B. B has to be disassembled and then reassembled once this becomes... Once C becomes more finished. Once it gets tapered down this way, and possibly tapered down long ways, like, sword is going to, have a going down towards a tip. Not that dramatic. But it's going to have somewhat of a tip. So not only does it have to be tapered down this way, going towards you, actually it's probably easier to do this way and this way, it also has to be tapered this way and this way. I forgot what the name of the taper is. Distal taper. Distal tapering is when you have a blade that's thick at the hilt and at the tip it's thin. Once this is adjusted, then I will remake this. As I said, this is just hot glued, so it's going to be the same pieces. Remake this so it's actually angled down. So I'll have to trim it even more, of course. I'll have to sand this down into a distal taper. But it'll be angled. Part B will be angled to part C. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures. Oop, I don't know. There we go. Online or in the movies even. You know that there's a hole in the blade here, and that hole is expanded when it's fully stretched out. So it'll actually be a quite longer hole once A is around it. I only have B here, of course. That was difficult to figure out. It means I have long legs on each individual section. Legs. Legs. To make that happen. But I think it's worth it. The part A doesn't actually have legs. It's a U shape. And B goes inside of it like this. And then when B slides out, sees the hole gets bigger. I don't know if it's supposed to be that big, but we'll figure something out. Trial and error. I do have to recut the sides on this. I have to recut probably the sides on this too. Oh, no, because I made sure that I made this bigger, because I realized what my mistake was when I made this one. And I got to figure out what this is, because this is an octagon as opposed to a hexagon. Oop, tape's falling down. You can see the graph paper that I used as a guide. This is going to be a octagon too. These are parallel. This will be parallel with the one on this side that's not glued on. And then the legs. This other side that's missing is missing because the legs were actually way too short. So it makes it was a little wonky. What else do we have? Sorry. This is the other piece that will go onto there. Oh goodness. Front facing camera, it's difficult to do anything. This will be parallel to here. So once I get the legs on, that's what it'll be. Handle piece. 1-inch dowel. 1 inch? Absolutely 1 inch. Poplar dowel, 1 inch. And that will attach to the box, the A with the B inside, with the C inside, with the D inside. And then we'll have the side blade I wish I had a picture up that I could show you, but I don't. I should probably just say something like figure C, and then when I put up the video on RPF, I'll put up a picture of figure C, or something like that. Put the detachable blade, you know, in the scene where in Guardians 1, she puts the blade from the side of the sword, to Peter Quill's neck. That's going to be on here. I'm going to attach it with magnets. That's the plan. I was originally going to have the handle be metal, so it would attach a little bit better, but I wanted to shape it a bit, so I'm not going to do it that way. Stuff's in the works, but this is the most important piece thus far. This is going to determine what the rest of them are. And actually, I think I did pretty darn good on this. If you guys make this, start from the inside and go out. One step at a time. Once you get D to a good point, you can start working on C. Once you get C to a good point, then start working on B. I started B way too soon, because luckily it's only hot glued. I can unhot glue it and readjust it once I get this trimmed out. I wish I could sand right now, but it's late at night, so I'm not going to. Oh, I do have a block there. You can sort of see it. That blocks the tip coming out, which I thought was pretty cool. I think it's too tall, though. If I'm making this, because there's a wobble in there. That way. You can hear it, even. So I think if I shave that down, once I shave the distal taper in, I'll be a lot cleaner and a lot tighter, but not too tight to slide. It's a balancing act, and that's going to be... I'm going to get really good at balancing that act. So far everything's sliding, but everything's a little bit loose. You can probably see that there's about I don't know if you can see that it's an 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch on either side. There's an 1/8 of an inch gap. Light. Can you do it? Whoa, careful now. Yeah, if I do it up against the light, come on now. Yeah, so with gravity, of course, letting them drop to the bottom, it's an 1/8 of an inch gap on each of those. Which, if we were translating to each side, it's a 1/16 on the top and a 1/16 on the bottom. But of course, since I'm holding it like this, actually let's hold it like this. If I was holding it like this, there's a 1/16 of an inch on this side and a 1/16 of an inch on this side gap. Maybe I can make that smaller? There's not a lot of... Oh, you can hear it. There's a little bit of a wobble. Let's see, how much is it? There's a little bit of a wobble there. Maybe a 1/16 total and a 32 inches on 32nd of an inch on either side. I'll adjust it. Luckily, this tip part that holds this in, it's only hot glued in, and it might only be hot glued in at the end. Eventually, I'm going to be wood gluing everything else. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up the what are these things called? Graph paper. The graph paper guidelines, and I'm going to put up my adjustments that I already found need to be adjusted. This is really limited tools too. It's not taking a lot of work. I mean, I'm using MDF, so it means I can carve a lot of it just with this. I'm sanding down with a Dremel tool. I'm going to do etching with the Dremel tool with the little bit. Do I have the little bits here? Yeah, I have this one here. I don't know what these things are called, but it's a little roundy dotty thing. Bang it. Bang it either. Is it? Yeah. Where is it? There it is. And it's not focusing. Nope, not focusing. If you see the pictures, you see in the tip, down the sides, there's all these lines of magic or whatever. That will be spray painted black because they're black lines after being etched with this little guy on the Dremel. And then I got a new pack of aluminum tape because my last aluminum tape got finished with my Star Wars lightsaber project, which I should do a video on pretty soon. Probably end up doing 2 videos on that one. That was a 2-month project. I was actually quite happy that I got it finished and it looks good. I will finally do a Johnny Moe video pretty soon too. I know that's going to be necro posting. It's been about 2 years since I've posted on that one, but I keep working on it in my off time. But Gamora's sword, especially since I saw Volume 2 of Guardians, there wasn't a lot of Gamora's sword in that one, as much as Volume 1, but it was still pretty awesome what I saw. A couple good scenes with it in there. Man, I should watch that movie again. Anyway, oh, the 2 dots here. There's going to be 2 dots here. I want a nub. I don't want a little metal, not the round side with the etchy, but I want a little metal thing to come out so that I can put a groove on the inside of this, the piece that this goes in, so it will stop about here-ish. And then it won't, if I were to fling this right now, it would fly out because there's nothing stopping it. And that's going to be my stopping mechanism on paper. That's as far as I've gotten with that one. I still got to figure out a couple of 5 or 6 other things first. Oh, there it goes. I'll find that eventually. Yeah. I think that's everything. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I can't think of it. I will put more up as I do it. I did have the magnets here for the blade. I know in the movie, of course, they had 3 different swords. At least 3 different swords, probably 4 or 5 different swords. And I'm not sure how thick they are, because I don't really get good thickness from it. I'll probably try to put up a bunch of pictures when I put it up. I might do that at work, actually, along with this video. Pardon me. Yeah. And the pictures of the pictures and the corrections from the graph paper side of things. I've lost my side views. I had side views 8 months ago when I originally made this project, and I can't find them. I wish I could, but unfortunately I'm winging it on side views. That's everything I have to talk about. 20-minute video, that's not bad. Bye, guys. Have fun.